PF Flyers was purchased from New Balance in 2021 by Cassia Davis, who happened to be the daughter of the CEO of New Balance. And after she took the helm for the first couple years, it was pretty underwhelming. And it seemed like they were just riding on the Sandlot fame and popularity of the shoe that makes you run faster and jump higher. And I had high hopes that under new management that they'd bring back some of the functional aspects of the shoe and try to evolve the brand instead of just trying to capitalize on a movie that was made in the 90s. So when I saw last year that they released basically a whole new line of shoes with anything from a kind of a hiking looking shoe to more of a Japanese style sneaker with cotton twill and cotton canvas and a bunch of differences, I bought 6 of them so we can cut them in half, run through all the tests to really figure out, are all these shoes exactly the same with just different facades on the outside? Does PF Flyers actually make a good shoe? How do they compare to the eternal rival of Converse? Have these shoes gotten better or worse since being a part of New Balance? And do they have the posture foundation that built the PF and PF Flyers that I'll show you a little bit in the video, because we have an old school one that actually has the posture foundation? And lastly, are they hiding anything on the inside of their new line of shoes? So what are the contenders? Well, first we got the brand is PF Flyers. The style is a 1993 center high top black. They weigh 13.5 ounces, retail for $90. Made in Indonesia, and the way they position this product is a cult classic sneaker with legendary character. The 1993 center high top does more than help you run faster and jump higher. It's a sneaker that's built to move, made to last, and grounded in decades of heritage. Next up, we've got the all-American high top in gray and green. They weigh the exact same amount. They retail for $90, but we got them on sale for $65. Also made in Indonesia, and the way they position this is part of the Clubhouse 1937 collection. This all-American high top pays tribute to the golden age of retro tennis. It was an era when country club aesthetics met serious competition and when style was just as important as the scoreboard. Next, we got your classic sneaker. This is the center high top off-white and gum. Weigh 13 ounces. They retail for $70. And the way they position this product is straight from the vintage shoe collection. The center off-white high top brings PF Flyer heritage full circle. First introduced in 1944, this canvas high top earned a reputation as the go-to for ball players and court kings alike. Nobody says court kings, ever, even back in 1944. But I do like it. This is one of the cooler looking ones, super classic. They weigh 1 pound, 6 ounces. They retail for $125. They're made in Indonesia. The way they position this is equal parts grit and polish. The grounder high top is a refined take on a military-born classic. First designed for US soldiers in the 1940s, it was built for rugged terrain and long-haul wear. Today, this version carries the legacy forward with premium materials and timeless design. Let's see if we can fact check that. PF Flyers, 1940s. The thing that drives me nuts about these companies is they've got the history and the lineage to tell cool stories, but they never do. They just say, like, how much cooler would it be if you showed the actual military boot it's based off of and tell the story of it? Instead, they just like, oh yeah, we totally made something like this like forever ago, and so buy this one now. This one is not a PF Flyers because I have that same shoe, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's a Converse. That's not even a military shoe. You think of out of any company, PF Flyers would be able to do the research to figure out what it's based on and at least find one authentic photo of it. But it doesn't look like it. So that to me like kind of points to it being fully like a fashion brand. When you don't care enough about your heritage to even look up and explain what your product is based off of from your own brand. And that's why calling people court kings and not having actually any information about the cool history of the shoes that you're re-releasing after nearly 100 years or at least 80 years. It points a little bit more towards it being like a fast fashion brand that doesn't really care about quality. These are micro adjust belts, handmade right here in the shop by us. Premium leather, solid brass hardware, and the rounded buckle so it doesn't dig in your gut all day. But what is micro adjust? Well, the one problem everyone always has with their belts is one hole's too tight, one's too loose. These little adjustments right here allow you to adjust your belt by 1/2 inch increments so it fits you exactly how you want for the lifetime of the belt. So check them out below. Then we've got the styles, the Koozie Houdini of the hardwoods. They weigh 1 pound even and they retail for $95, made in Indonesia as well. They position it as a clean classic reimagined. The all-American high top in sea salt brings timeless court heritage to everyday fit with a natural palette of our patented posture foundation. Whoa, okay, they're saying it's patented. Okay, let's see. I have a feeling that there's no actual posture foundation in here. So they're saying with our patented posture foundation insole. Worn by Bob Cousy during basketball's golden age, the sneaker pays homage to that legacy with modern comfort, versatility, and everyday wearability. Last one is the center high top. They are 14.5 ounces, retail for $70. Also made in Indonesia, and that pretty much wraps up the preview of all these. But to me, it kind of seems like they're positioning a similar shoe for different things over and over and over again. They claim they've got the posture foundation that's patented. They say one's for court kings, one's for basketball, or at least paying homage to it, you know? And so my question next is, are these all just the exact same shoe with the facelift, or is there actually any differences between them? Because right now, it seems like there's roughly 3 categories of shoes we have here. First category is just your classic high top. You know, it's the classic PF flyer. You know, there might be a little difference in the cut here and there, but they've got basically the same construction. You've got an overlay for the lace stay. You've got a little stitched on heel counter. You've got the breathability hole there. Same kind of toe cap. These are basically the exact same shoe from the outside with the small differences here and there. The next category is basically the same thing, but this has this little stitch right here, and they're a little bit taller, and the outsole is a little bit slimmer, not quite as chunky. But that doesn't mean they're any different whatsoever. They might just look different. And then the third one is their military-inspired boot, which would be so cool if I knew what the we're talking about. Because this looks like a really, really cool shoe and a cool like hybrid hiker everyday wear shoe, but they don't really explain it, and we don't know for sure if it's any quality and if it's even real leather. But this is the one that we'll actually talk about the materials in the upper, because they say it's leather, but it's PF flyers. They try to be very, very eco-friendly in their marketing and branding, and they're very like, it seems like they care more about their public perception in certain ways than their actual products, is the way I think I can put it. And so even though they say it's leather, I was like, I don't know, is it actually leather? You know, is it good leather? What's the quality? Is it just like, is it vegan leather and they're just kind of skirting around it? Well, I cut a slit in it, and it is definitely leather. It's even pretty thick at 1.7 millimeters thick. The lining, I thought for sure the lining wouldn't be leather. It's leather too. So actually it's a pretty nice shoe through and through just from the materials alone. Got a fairly thick leather upper that's thicker than most sneakers by 0.2 millimeters, but it's still thicker. A full leather lining. The tongue's not gusseted or anything, but like it's a nice little hybrid. And it's a really soft, supple leather. So it's gonna be easy to break in. It's, you know, it's not gonna be as durable as like an actual boot leather, but it's still gonna be a lot more durable than most sneaker leathers. So this one actually has some really good features to it. So this might be the one, we'll see. Here's the material information for the uppers of these. You've got a canvas, you got another canvas, and a twill. You can see the difference in the burn resistance. But honestly, it's less about those materials and more of like, what's the actual difference? So if we pull out the insoles, all 3 of these shoes have a very lightly glued in cheap piece of foam underneath a flat open cell foam insole. Where's the posture foundation? That's kind of the idea, was to have it there. They even have it printed on there, but this is literally just, it's no different than a boot breaker insole. It's just cheaper because it's open cell foam and really cheap. You could say maybe this is the posture foundation, but not really. Just a really cheap insole and a very poorly glued midsole in. And then underneath of it, you can see just your classic Strobel board. Not to say it's a bad thing, but there's definitely no posture foundation in there. There's nothing that even points to it. And there's, when they claim it being patented, maybe they're claiming back in the day it used to be patented, but there's nothing unique enough in either of these 3 shoes to say that it could be patented in any way. It's literally just an insole. What about these? They seem like a little bit higher quality. Here's your measurements differences between all these different materials. And I actually really like this twill on this one. It's fairly hardy. It has like a nice texture to it. I really love the lining on the inside of this one. It's just like a green gold. This one has a cotton lining, canvas lining. But are these insoles any different? Is there a posture foundation in them? No. It is a different insole. You can see similar on top, but on bottom, you got an open cell foam and then a closed cell foam. Closed cell foam is gonna give you more rebound, it's gonna give you more squish, and you can see at the heel, it's quite a bit thicker than the other one, and this one does not have a foam wedge underneath that's lightly glued in. You can see underneath, it's just that same Strobel board. That's what bugs me about this. They're so close. It's such a cool design. They're like getting closer and closer to actually making a functional shoe, not just a fashion shoe, but they just don't do those little things that it wouldn't be that hard. If your dad is the like CEO of New Balance, you could pull some strings to get a insole that's shaped at least somewhat like it used to be, you'd think. But there's still some hope. There might be one shoe that still holds the posture foundation true. And is it? Ooh, it's different, but it's still a closed-cell foam. It's basically this exact same insole, but has little wings up the side, but nothing posture foundation-y. So even though they're really advertising, even in the description of their products, the patented posture foundation, you know, it's like, these are just cheap insoles. There's nothing special about these in any way, which is so annoying because like I love PF flyers. I loved the Sandlot growing up. All growing up, I was like, I would dream about having a pair of this specific pair of PF flyers. And so now that they've got new ownership and they have the freedom from a giant corporation, they're no longer part of New Balance, you'd think that they would try to at least harken back to the history of it in a actual physical sense in their products, but also in a storytelling sense, and they don't do it. I'm bummed about this mid-recording. Okay, what about the outsoles? Is there some differences in the outsoles? Well, these first 3 that are basically the same shoe, same pattern, a little different color, but basically same thing through and through, still vulcanized construction, because you can see the little gaps there from where that material is fused together, that foxing tape is fused together. It looks like it's the exact same pattern on all 3. You got like the triple rib there, you got this here. So these 3 outsoles are exactly the same. They're coming at a 60 Shore A versus these outsoles. They look the same, but they're softer. They're at 50 short A, so a little bit more gummy, a little bit more grip. They might not last as long. Same pattern, but just a little bit softer. And then you look at the more military-inspired one, and this is a really cool outsole. That's why I'm annoyed, because it's such a this could be such a cool little sneaker. Because I love this toe design. Like there's a ton of Japanese sneakers that do this, that harken back to the early, like when Converse and apparently P.F. Flyers was making canvas boots and shoes for the military, where they still need that protection, that toe guard, extra durability. And this outsole is 60 short A, so it's similar to the rest of them. So it's more of a sneaker outsole, but it's mostly a sneaker anyway. So now to really see if there's any differences, let's cut these in half, see if they're all exact same shoe, if there's any differences that matter and which you should avoid, which you should consider buying, and do they stack up to the Converse competition, or is this brand spiraling the drain?
Do you hate Valentine's Day? Well, you're not alone. Literally everyone hates Valentine's Day, but it's over. It's in the past. Let it go. Forget about it. Whatever happened, just let it go. Make yourself feel a little bit better by getting one of our Dead Feb products. We discount the entire site, 20% off. It's a dead time of year for all of our hearts and souls. So get yourself something nice for Valentine's Day and check it out below.
All right, we got them cut in half, so now let's see what's inside. If you're not subscribed, super the subscribe button, because that's how we can afford to buy 6 pairs of shoes just to hold these brands accountable and actually show you what you're spending your hard-earned money on and what's a facade and what's actually happening inside of the footwear that you wear every single day. Check out our handmade leather goods, collaborations. So now, let's see what's inside. So what's the actual difference? Well, I think for the most part, everything is exactly the same from the actual Strobel board down. It looks like the same thickness, same outsoles, same vulcanized construction, same structure on the inside of the various types. This one does have a separate layer right here, but it's close enough, I think, to be honest. This is the inside of the more hiking style, but they're basically all the exact same if you remove the insole and the little wedge that's lightly glued in there. It's understandable. I thought maybe there'd be some differences, but are they any different from, let's say, the first pair that we cut apart like 4 or 5 years ago? I think it was right after the purchase, or maybe even right before. Exactly the same. A little bit of difference the counter, a little material difference here and there, but the actual structure of it, the thicknesses, and the things that actually matter for longevity, they are all basically exactly the same. But how does that compare to a pair of Chuck Taylors? Well, they're built basically the same. The Converse have that thicker wedge at the heel, where these have this little, maybe this is what they're calling the posture foundation. I doubt it. The Converse has a little thicker outsole. The P.F. Flyers have a better lasting material, whereas this is just a really cheap, like cellulose-based lasting material. If you really wanted to point to one better than the other, you'd be splitting hairs. So deciding between the two, I don't think it matters as much quality and longevity. I think it should matter more to you, like which style you like, what look you like more, because the quality difference is very, very marginal. But what about Converse's big hiking shoe that was like $230 that we just reviewed? How does it compare to this little hiker? Well, they had this really terrible, I don't know if it's terrible. They had this really cheap feeling and not very well thought out air unit in the heel, but for the most part, these are very similarly built. A little thicker outsole. The Converse does have the Vibram logo on it that gives it some perceived value. It's hard to say if it's actually more valuable, in terms of longevity and wear and grip. They both have a leather lining. The Converse, though, they don't have a leather upper. They've got a canvas upper. But it just goes to show you that Converse could have made this shoe a lot cheaper, and it points to it being like severely overpriced like we assumed, because if P.F. Flyers, who's not backed by Nike or New Balance, can put this out that's basically the exact same quality, if not better materials, then what's the excuse? Converse. And that also points to this being a pretty good value. I just wish it was like actually the posture foundation like they claim, because I do like the look of it a lot. And then what about the OG posture foundation? What is that? What is it? How's it look? How did it work? Well, fortunately, we found an old pair of P.F. Flyers to show you exactly what they used to do and what New Balance right now is claiming is their patented posture foundation insoles that are in their shoes, when it's literally like the cheapest way to make an insole possible. What was the old posture foundation? Well, if you look down in there, you can see it's contoured. So you can see there's that bubble right there of arch support, and then the whole thing slopes down. So you've got a little bit more built up here. You've got that arch support foam there. And then if you look on the inside, you can see it's well thought out. It's not just a thin layer of foam. It has that rubber layer that's got a a green layer, yellow layer, the brown layer, and then at the heel you got a gray layer that then goes back to that yellow layer and the brown layer on top again. So it is multi-layered, and it was clearly intentionally built for that posture foundation to help support your foot. Did it actually ever work? Probably not. Like, if it's probably so little arch support that maybe you felt a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it probably didn't make that big of a difference. So you could point to P.F. Flyers and say, well, it didn't do anything anyway. It's just gonna make these shoes more expensive. It's just like a little bit of extra arch support. Like, why would you do it? Because you're saying it has it. You said it has the P.F. Flyers posture foundation, and it's just this, where you have the actual history proven right here that they used to do it a different way. So to me, that is gross false advertising, even though I really like the P.F. Flyers new line. So overall though, what do I think? Well, I still love the P.F. Flyers. I think they are growing and changing and improving and evolving their concepts. Either way, I love this one. I think this one is so sick. This is like my favorite style of sneaker toe style, where there's Moonstar and a bunch of other brands that do similar style based on old school sneakers from the military. I still love the old school P.F. Flyers from the movie. And honestly, I think these are good enough quality that if you're okay with Converse quality for a sub $100 canvas sneaker, that's what these are. And so if you like this brand and you like the silhouettes, there's no reason you shouldn't buy this over Converse, but vice versa with Converse. If you just like the Converse look, you don't get that much more from a P.F. Flyers really in any way that would quality or durability or functionally would make you buy P.F. Flyers over Converse. I think they're comparable. I think P.F. Flyers will always take second seat to Converse because of the cultural significance of Converse. And that's why I think P.F. Flyers should double down on the material and some of like the history, tell the storytelling, and really dig into their archives to make things that actually represent the history of the brand, instead of just claiming it represents the history and claiming it has this patent pending thing, and when in all reality it doesn't at all. But I think they're on the right path. When you have a brand like this, it's like trying to turn a battleship. It takes a lot of years to really change things and improve things, and so keep that in mind as well. This is growth from P.F. Flyers in a way that I was hoping for, and I think over time they're just gonna get better and better. And let's hope it doesn't go fast fashion. I just try to like remove all the history and lineage and just try to sell these with none of the substance. Let's hope it keeps improving. So thank you guys. Let me know what you think. If you have a P.F. Flyers, let me know your experience compared to the Converse. And are you as annoyed as I am with the posture foundation, or is it just me being like a little bit over pedantic? Or if you just don't care about it. So let me know. Thank you guys. See ya.